Money in and of itself wields no power. It can't hurt me, and it can't save me. Never, ever. Not even a little. No amount of money can keep me safe, and no amount of money can destroy me. I alone hold the power, and money is one tool and manifestation of my power, my authority, my clarity, my truth.
Yeah.
Can you just tell the story of that realization?
You know, I've written more on that since I sent you that text, and it's become for me really embodied in that conversation that we had. That was the aha moment. That was the light bulb moment where I'm positive I've heard you say this before, like this is part of your teaching, and I hadn't fully experienced it or felt it until that moment in that conversation. And now I've had this opportunity for it to really settle into my being, and it's very clear how true that is. And when I think back over the last 12 months, 14, 15, 16 months of my business, I see how that has come up really time and again, and what the lesson was there. And each new client, each new contract, getting a loan from the SBA as part of the COVID relief fund, a really substantial $115,000 loan. These were all the things that were going to save my business, to save me, or to, make everything else just real easy and I won't have to worry about it anymore. And that was never the case. And so I thought that they would each dollar that came in, I thought would shore me up. And now I'm safe. And now I can buy all the things I want to buy. I don't have to think about it or worry about it.
This is the fantasy.
This is total fantasy. On both sides. It's sort of like the nightmare that lives in our being and the fantasy, both. And for me, what I've realized is that when I live in that place, this side and this side, they really just kind of balance each other out, and I stay in the same place. I don't really ever get anywhere, but I work real hard to get to this side and not be on this side and end up just staying here.
And I know what these are, but I want to make sure that we're making them really clear. What is this and what is this?
This is like the fantasy where, oh my God, in my first year of my business, I brought in over $500,000 into my bank account. That money was I'm safe forever. I can buy whatever I want, there are no problems. And then this side is the side that's oh shit, I need that money to save me. This side is this money's gonna free me. This side is that money's gonna save me from all the bad. This is gonna free me to do all the good.
First of all, I wanna shout you out for two things, because I feel in one way you're right that this is part of what I've been teaching for years. But there was something, as so often happens, in our relationship and in this space of transformational work, that we're at the leading edge and the conversation goes new places. And that happened for, I think, both of us in that conversation. And then again in your writing about this theme. So I want to emphasize two things. One is that it's not only the fantasy that money can save you, that a certain number will be enough that you never have to think about it again, which is common, right? I've done talks about this, that's the millionaire illusion. Right. But on the flip side, that there's some number that could harm you. Mm-hmm. That if you look in your bank account and you had $2, that would somehow mean that something terrible was about to happen to you. And that came through you so clear in that conversation. It was these are two sides of the same coin. Yes. If you believe that money can save you, you also believe that money can harm you. If you believe that there's a particular number that could be your rescue, then it means that you also believe that there is a number that could be your downfall. Yeah. And that true financial freedom is neither of those things. I think that for people to hear you say that, knowing that you made over $500,000 in your first year of business, is a radical thing. And maybe it's just new language for the same thing, but I was very struck when I read your article about this subject of your use, or by your use of the word nightmare, like fantasy and nightmare. Right. That felt really ripe. And I guess I'm wondering, how did you actually come to this? What needed to happen? What difficult and or powerful experiences needed to happen for you to have this realization?
I think it was a culmination of experiences. And it was bringing in that initial $150,000 was like I had won the lottery. And then I stopped. Like I stopped in my business. I stopped getting, working to get clients. I stopped doing the things day in and day out that I need to do to have a successful, thriving business. Because I'm like, well, now I'm super wealthy. Fine. I don't have to worry about it. And then the money went away. I spent it.
Yeah, it didn't go away.
Right. You're right. It didn't just fly out of my bank account magically. I spent it.
Yeah.
I used it.
Yeah.
Yeah. In some ways, really deliberately in a way that really helped my business. And in some ways, like really just unconsciously, not thinking about it.
I think that that's a really important piece to emphasize. This is why it's so important to keep your foot on the gas pedal when you don't think you need to.
Right.
Because until you have the contrasting experience that I know you're about to tell us, you have no way of knowing that actually even $150,000 in a matter of weeks, there's no amount that will ever be enough.
No. To
mean that you don't have to think about it again.
Right. So I proceeded to do that like 3 more times over. So after that first $150,000, I got to the point where it's like, oh shit, I don't have enough money to pay my rent. I don't have enough money to pay you. I don't have enough money to pay my employee. And then I had to scramble, like mad scramble to make it up. And I did. And then I had
I want you to share that number too, because it's very impressive, very important.
Which number?
What was the second amount that you made in what period of time?
It was like $100,000 in 2 weeks. Yeah. Yeah. So $150,000 in about 2 months, roughly. $100,000 in about 2 weeks.
And then
that went away. Then I spent it.
Did you think that one would be enough?
Every time I thought it would be enough. Every time I thought it would be enough.
Enough to
keep me safe, to keep me going, to provide. It wasn't a logical thought. It's not logical. Yeah. It's not like I'm looking at the numbers and budgeting and balancing. It's way deeper than that.
Yeah. I think this is super powerful. And I want to reflect to you again what you said, what you wrote. Money in and of itself wields no power. It can't hurt me, and it can't save me. No amount of money can keep me safe. No amount of money can destroy me. I alone hold the power. So these 2 moments when you brought in all this cash, at some level you knew that you had done it.
Right.
And at another level, it was like you were giving as soon as the money came in, you gave your power back to the money.
I did.
And had to go through this retraining, this recalibrating, reprogramming. One of the things that I also remember about this phone conversation that we had is that it was through contrast that you had this insight.
Right.
If you had not run out of money.
For the third time.
Uh-huh. You would not have had a way of realizing where this truth of your own power was.
No.
And that was really, I remember saying to you that it was like, man, I want to be annoyed with you that we're having this conversation again, but this insight is so worth it that I can't I can't say no to the growth process that you're going through.
That's right.
So thank goodness you didn't pay me in full. Thank goodness you were late on this payment. Thank goodness we're having this challenge.
Yes.
Because this insight is worth everything.
Yeah.
And so let's just recap. The insight is, say it again.
The insight is that no amount of money can save me, and no amount of money or lack of money can harm me.
Super powerful.